Please, I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello. Welcome to episode 29 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney Perry. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. So, hey, I don't know. I have been really all over the map. I mean, I'm always all over the map, but this is like going, like, I feel like one of those kids that puts a bucket on their head and they're just like running into random things with a bucket on their head. I don't know. Or someone that, like, when they do that game where you put your head on a baseball bat thing and you spin around and then you try to run. I don't know. I feel like that's where I'm at right now. So anyways, my cat Harlow just jumped up on my lap to say it's okay. Anyway, well, for starters, I feel like such a prima donna, or like the Princess and the Pea, because one minute I'm complaining that it is entirely too cold and I'm freezing and I can't wait for summer. And then summer hits and now I'm like, I'm hot, it's too hot. But people have said, and this is true, I feel this is true, it's not that we are so much Princess and the Pea or being like, prima donna. It's more that the extremes are what gets me. Like, I don't like it when it goes from, flipping in the 30s or 40s to like, boom, summer, we're going to do 90 something, for days. That kind of stuff. That's where it gets me. If we had some time, I guess this year though, see, I say all that, but this year, really, we kind of did ease into it more so than usual, I suppose. I guess we had like 2 weeks where it was like in the 70s. But then it's just like, bam, let's do high 90s from like 95 to 100 for like 10 days in a row. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, for real? Are you freaking kidding me? I've said this before. I do not know how people live in places around the world that has the high humidity and, the heat. It's just, oh my gosh, when you're just always feeling sweaty, it's just so uncomfortable. I'd much rather be cold because you can put blankets on, you can layer. But when you are hot, it's like, what are you going to do? You can't jump out of your skin. So, my sons went to Singapore on a layover, and they were saying that it was like 99% humidity and that it was like in the 90s when they were there, and that there was not any air conditioning. Like everywhere they went, no one had air conditioning. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense because I suppose it would cost a fortune if it's running like all the time. I don't know what the weather is like, so I don't know what the weather is like there all the time year round. But if it's hot all the time, then I suppose having AC would be ridiculously expensive. So, but they were saying that when they went there, there wasn't any AC, and they were like, I don't know how. Like, kudos to everybody in Singapore and places in general around the world that have that high humidity. Like, it makes me feel like the biggest wimp on the planet. I'm such a wimp. I can't hack it in a lot of places. I cannot hack it. I can't hack it in Alaska. I know I can't hack it in Alaska. Everybody, shout out to everybody in Alaska. You guys are freaking studs. Like, man, you guys are badass mofos. You guys have to deal with a lot of shit that I, again, admit I do not want to deal with. I want to go to Alaska because Alaska just seems insanely gorgeous, so beautiful. My parents have gone there a million times, and the reason they've gone there a million times is because of how beautiful they thought it was. And from what I've seen from pictures, I would love to visit, but I definitely, my hat's off to y'all, to everybody in Alaska. And then speaking, I started to say y'all in the South again. You guys also seem like badass mofos in your own right for all different reasons. Everybody around the world in all the states, people in the Midwest, everybody all over, you guys are all freaking awesome. You guys are badass motherfuckers because everybody has stuff to deal with. There's hurricanes, there's tornadoes, there's earthquakes, there's tsunamis, there's humidity, there's freezing temperatures that gets into the negative, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. I'm sorry. I'm just a dumb American that uses Fahrenheit, and I'm sorry. But anyways, I'm learning this about myself. This is one of the things that has been on my mind. I've been thinking because of the heat and because I've been hot, and then thinking about humidity, and then just thinking about people all over the world and the things they endure. And I'm like, everybody has some bullshit they have to deal with. And no matter where you're from, does not matter where you're from, there's some bullshit, whether it's political bullshit, whether it is civil rights bullshit, whether it is humidity, whether it is tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, all of that, whatever it is. Everybody has something. And, it just got me thinking of how people deal with those stresses of life and the different cultural differences, the cultural differences. And it's interesting to me. It's fascinating how different people from around the world handle stress. And I always wonder if those same people, like say someone that's used to, I don't know, tornadoes all the time. I'm not saying you get used to it as in you don't care or it doesn't affect you. I don't mean that at all. But I mean, it probably scares you less than someone who's never ever dealt with a tornado and then is suddenly in that state. So I always wonder, like, people that are used to tornadoes, what if they moved to a place that had, hurricanes? How would they fare with that? Like, would that stress them out more? Would they just be like, okay, I'm used to dealing with kind of like a doctor in the ER or people in the military that are kind of almost trained in a way because they do it so often, the people that are obviously the military and doctors, but I mean the people that live in like Oklahoma, for example, that have tornadoes. I'm not saying you're trained to deal with it, but you are because you learn the safety precautions and you learn what to look for and all of that. So I always wonder if you go to a different state that has hurricanes or something, if you would deal with it in the manner that an ER doctor would, as in just be like, okay, assess the situation and don't freak out. What can we do? And just kind of stay calm, cool, collected. Or because it's a whole new thing that you aren't used to, would it be something that would freak you out? Or, of course, both, because obviously not every human is going to respond in the exact same way. But that's what I want to know. I want to do like some type of round the world test because it's just fascinating to me how people in different cultures and different religious backgrounds and male or female or whatever, it just is interesting to me that I think all of those things obviously play a role in how you handle life. Because obviously it's not just one thing that makes you deal with something well. It's a combination of things. And so I just find it interesting because there are times when I kind of laugh at myself because I'm one of those people that can handle big stress well. Like I can handle, I'm the one that's like, if there were a hurricane or whatever, I'd be like, okay, here's what we need to do. We practice for this, okay. But yet I lose my shit over like trivial stuff more often than not. Like I get panic and like traveling, for example, I am not the best traveler as far as when we have to connect flights or when we have to suddenly find like, transportation to get to a hotel and we're going to be late, and we can't find a place. I lose my mind. I'm not a good traveler. I admit I immediately am just like, I'm done. So it's just interesting. So those kinds of things have been on my mind. And like I said, shout out to just everyone. Shout out to everyone, because everyone has some crap that they're dealing with. And I think we're all just trying to freaking do it. And sometimes we screw up, and we screw up big time, and other times we nail it. And then there's times we kind of are like, I didn't handle that terribly, but I probably could have handled it better. So then that made me start thinking about apologies and, saying you're sorry. And this is something that's always been kind of a pet peeve of mine, I guess, is the best wording. I'm not a fan of people apologizing just because, or because they feel it'll end an argument or make someone happy or whatever. I understand, yes, there's times that maybe you're in the middle of some really dumb, petty little tiff, no matter who it's with. And then, yes, if you're apologizing because it's like, this is genuinely such a minor thing that we can move on, that, okay, I want to apologize because we can move on. But then, okay, I get it. But I don't like it when you've had maybe a pretty large argument with whomever in your life, and it's, maybe things were said or things were done that, were a bigger deal, and they've caused an argument. And I, for whatever reason, I've never been a fan of someone apologizing just to end an argument or for the sake of apologizing, because then I feel like apologies don't really mean anything. Just like when I say, and I'm guilty of this, by the way, but when someone says I love you, like all the time, constantly, it kind of starts losing its value almost, in a way. That's a whole other topic. But with apologizing, and I was on the fence with this for a while, because I thought, okay, well, isn't it great that someone apologizes? Because, at least they're apologizing, and, they don't want to argue anymore, and good for them. But then it's like, no, I don't really want you to apologize if you don't mean it, because then what's the point? Like, I'm not saying I want you to mean it as in be like, I want you to admit you're wrong or admit you had fault. Not like that at all. It's just, if you're going to apologize for whatever it is, or your part of it, if you're going to apologize for your role in the argument, I would rather someone not apologize at all if they don't mean it than apologize for the sake of just, starting the argument. I'd rather just kind of maybe wait a day or a couple hours or whatever, calm down, and then kind of reevaluate. And I don't think me personally, I don't think there always has to be an apology necessarily. Can't it just be that two people talk, they communicate, they work it out, they come to an agreement that maybe they both participated in whatever it was? But I don't feel there always has to be a sorry after it, because I don't know. Why can't you just talk about it? I mean, I do think sorries are important. I think there needs to be apologies. I think apologies are important. Saying you're sorry is important. I'm just saying I don't think it needs to be after every argument, and nor do I feel it needs to be said if it's not meant. But on that note, it also equally bothers me when someone never, or I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say never, when somebody in your eyes rarely apologizes, when you don't hear an apology at once every, fourth, I was going in a place and I lost it. Once every, Friday the 13th that falls in, January. I don't know. I'm pulling things out my ass because I'm really tired. But point being, I'm tired. That was not a good example. But I don't like it when someone rarely apologizes, if ever. I'm not supposed to say ever, but, and when not only do they not, but then they will make excuses as to why they feel everybody else makes them behave the way they do. Or there's some reason or some excuse as to why they are allowed to behave the way they do. And I know many people in my life that way, many people. And it's infuriating to me when, or if you apologize, but you say something like, I'm sorry, it's just that when I'm really tired or hungry, I get bitchy. Or when I'm not getting in enough, when I'm not getting enough sleep, or when I am working too hard, or whatever. Insert excuse here. I get that that's a reason. I understand that's a reason. But again, and I know you want me to understand where you're coming from, and that's fine. But I feel like a lot of people will kind of say something along the lines of, I'm really, I'm sorry about the way that I acted, and I'm sorry about, the way that I acted the other day. But it just seems like, I start getting really, really tired, and I start getting really cranky, toward the end of the night, toward the end of my work week. I get so tired every single day. At that time, I get really tired. And so because I get tired every time at that time of the day, it makes me cranky, and I tend to lash out at others. Okay, well, now I feel like you've just sort of erased your apologies, or you just gave me a reason for it. But your reason basically is, so every day you get tired at the end of the day, so you lash out at people. Well, learn to be an adult. That's not okay. That doesn't make it okay. Learn to communicate better. I could say the same thing. I could say, I'm a bitch when, I'm snotty when, I'm rude when. We all have our why we behave the way that we behave, but that doesn't make it okay. And then I feel like that sort of erases the apology. So you get the people that don't apologize, or again, I'm not supposed to say don't ever, but that rarely apologize. Or you get the people that apologize, but then they pretty much immediately, in my view, erase the apology or make excuses for their behavior. So for me personally, or you get the people that apologize to end an argument. And again, I get it. If it's some genuinely petty little tiff that you can move on and it's not something that you need to even talk about, it's just, whatever, then whatever. But for me personally, I'd rather someone not apologize at all if they don't mean it. And again, it could just mean you're apologizing for your part, your role in the argument. I'm not even saying someone has to apologize for the entire thing. And that got me thinking about how people look at apologies almost as if it's a fault, or that they're terrible, or blame, or pointing fingers and blame, 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 wrong, wrong, wrong. And I do it too. Trust me, I've been those people. I still can be that person. I tend to get sensitive and take it as someone is saying I am, basically a failure, or I'm a piece of crap. I sometimes get like that. And, but again, that's my issue. That's my issue that I need to work on. And so I'm learning to try to work on that, because when someone has done something to, and they played a role in an argument or something, it doesn't mean that person's some piece of crap, and that if they admit their role in it or their fault, that doesn't mean that they are some terrible human being who, needs to go, I can't talk today. It doesn't mean they're a terrible human being. There we go. And so I think that I think sometimes people have a hard time admitting that maybe they were wrong, or maybe that they said or did some things that weren't okay, because for whatever reason they take it like they're feeling like they're a failure or whatever. And again, I can be that person sometimes as well. So I speak from knowing that I do that sometimes. And then I'm like, why do we do this? And that, of course, goes into a whole psychological other thing that I went on a tangent with for my brain at night. This is crazy. I think it should be hooked up to something. A lot of people's brains. I'm not the only one. There are so many people that their brains are just like, woo. Yet I'm actually don't feel calm. I feel calm on the outside. But people, I walk extraordinarily fast. Apparently, I'm told I walk very fast. The only person that seems to be able to keep up with me is my oldest son. He walks just as fast as I do. And my mom also used to walk as fast as, that's where I got it from, actually, because she used to walk really fast. So the three of us, apparently, we're told by everybody else that we are crazy walkers, but I don't realize it until everybody points it out. And I talk fast, apparently. That's why I love listening to people that talk fast that a lot of people have a hard time following, because I'm like, not only can I understand everything they're saying, but I retain it more. When people talk fast, I'm like, yes, and they keep it on, the facts and the information that I need. I'm like, yes, I retain it. Although I appreciate so much people that can paint a pretty picture and could set a scene and set a mood, I'm not going to lie, I'm out. Like, my brain has already thought of 100 different things. And it's not because I'm trying to be rude. It's not because I don't think that you are, well, I guess technically it is because I don't think that what you're saying is interesting, but at the same time, it's not, because my brain just can't follow anyone that speaks slower or paints a pretty picture. I've been like that even with movies. I don't like things that are too drawn out or too, it's like, yeah, got it. Okay. That's why I think I would make a good ER doctor. It's like, just give me what I need. I don't need all the extra. Just give me the important critical information. Everything else I won't retain anyway, so don't bother. So it's not that I'm trying to be rude. I just, honestly, I'm like Kelly Bundy on Married with Children. If you give me too much information, I'll just lose another. It's like almost for every one thing I learn, another goes. Swear. Anyway, so these are the things that have been on my mind. Some of the things that have been on my mind lately, as well as TikTok. TikTok is cracking me up because I did not think that I would be someone that would be kind of addicted to watching TikTok videos. And yet I feel like I maybe need a 12-step program because I started watching freaking TikTok videos. Damn it. But okay. I'm not going to apologize and then make an excuse, because I'm not sorry that I do it. I'm not sorry. I'm just throwing out there that I was wrong. I'm admitting fault, that I thought that I was not going to be addicted, and I indeed am. But it's kind of funny because I do find myself watching things like cooking stuff or tips, household tips, or I will find myself watching, there's a counselor guy that I love listening to. He just has a voice that's soothing. And then, yes, and I'm not going to lie, I do watch total random nonsense, all over the place stuff, but I do watch actual informational, educational videos. And that's kind of what I like about it, is that it's, there's all of that, and they're only 3 minutes. And that's what I was going to say, like YouTube has the same thing. There's YouTube channel, and there's all kinds of videos out there, like a bajillion videos, but sometimes they're too long. And so I remember when Vine, I think it was called Vine, it was like, I don't know how long the videos were, because I feel like it was only out for not very long. But Vine kind of cracks me up because it was short. And I was like, I think this must have been invented by someone with ADHD or ADD, because they were so quick. And then, and then that was almost too quick, though, in a way. And then when TikTok came out, and the longest video you can do is 3 minutes, I was like, all right, perfect. Just the attention span I have. I love it. So genius. And I'm sure that's intentional, because they probably know that the majority of people, especially this generation and myself, so I'm not knocking on it, that a lot of people have the attention span of a gnat. We're all or a lot of us have the attention span of a gnat. So 3 minutes, perfect. But TikTok cracks me up because I find myself, and now I have the Ramblings of an Insomniac is on for TikTok and Instagram. And it used to drive me bonkers when people would say, Insta. I'm like, oh my God, stop with the Insta. It's excruciatingly annoying. But anyway, the Instagram thing I'm kind of on the fence about, because I feel like people, it's more, pictures and stuff like that. And there's videos and everything, but it seems like, from what I understand, people get kind of in trouble a lot on Instagram. I don't really know what that means. I'm not sure. So, but I have that. I have both. And again, I was like, didn't think I would have either. And I was one that thought I would never. And now, famous last words. I mean, I never said I would never, but I secretly thought I would never. I don't know that I said it out loud, but I thought it. And then look at me. Yikes. But it's fun. So, but I saw a video, and it cracked me up because it was like, hey, guys, this is for people that are 35 and older. Only the people 35 and older. Okay, has all the people that are, is it only people 35 and older out there? Has everybody else cleared out? Yeah? Okay. What are we doing? Like, seriously, what are we doing? Oh my God, that killed me. That cracked me up because I feel the same way. I was like, what am I doing? I don't know. But again, kind of like this podcast, it's oddly therapeutic. And as much as I really, 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 though, do not like my face being shown, like I can't stand it. That's pretty annoying to me. So I try to do videos of other stuff and steer clear. But I've decided if I am going to do my face, I'm going to do it with no makeup most of the time, with no makeup, and just be like, whatever. If I'm doing this, you're just going to get me because that's what I'm going to do. You're just going to get me and all the ugliness that comes with not sleeping and not taking care of yourself. So at any rate, I just started thinking about TikTok and how we've come a long way since I was a kid, and the things that entertain us, and the things that entertain me, and the things that I find funny, and again, the things in different, around the world. That's something we all have is TikTok, and how that's kind of our way to communicate with people in different, corners of the world. And the internet has brought us together and also caused, again, in my point of view, my perspective, it's been good and bad. The internet has a lot of advantages, and I feel a lot of things that it's not been so great for. So, but I love that TikTok can kind of, oh, there's gunshots. I mean, not as in I don't live in the city. I live out in the country, so nobody panic. I'm not being shot at. Nobody is being shot at. I say that, and now it's shot. Now watch, it's like, oh, don't worry, we're out in the country. I hear it all the time. And then that would really suck if I just ignore that and everybody ignores it and somebody really is getting shot at. That'd not be cool. But I know my neighbors, and anyways, so I really think that TikTok and the internet is awesome for a lot of things. And I like seeing how other cultures live, because again, I'm intrigued. I like to see what makes other people tick. Plus, I'm just nosy, I'm just nosy. I'm nosy, and I'm also curious, and I like to understand people, and I want to understand people and what goes on with them and why they behave the way they do and what, all that. So, TikTok is cracking me up, man. Anyways, and I wish you all could see the beautiful sunset with the trees so silhouetted, like gorgeous on the countryside with my neighbor's horses, and it's pretty rad. Not the neighbors that have anyways, horses not near guns, promise. But it's gorgeous. Like, it's such a pretty view. So wherever you're at, I hope that your view is amazing. And, if the view that you're looking at isn't something that's amazing, if it's depressing or sad or, not good, because unfortunately I'm well aware that not everybody, I'm very, very, very fortunate. I'm so fortunate. I'm so grateful that I do have this view. I'm beyond fortunate and thankful. And so if you don't like the view that you see, if your surroundings aren't what you want them to be, I'm sorry. And I hope that can be changed. I hope that things can look up. I hope that you are able to get yourself in a better situation. I'm always wanting people to be able to better themselves and be in a better situation. And if I hate seeing people suffer in any way. I'm such an empath, and anybody that's hurting, I just want to help everyone. I want to help all animals. I want to help people. Like I said, that's why I like to get to know people, because I just want to understand people. And so I hate knowing that there are people out there that are suffering and hurting, and I wish that I could help. But, to those of you out there, I am sending you, as always, my love, positive energy, and again, waking up and putting one foot in front of the other, just getting up and showing up. Getting up and showing up is more than a lot of people do nowadays. So if you're getting up and showing up, kudos to you. Anyways, you guys, I hope you all have a good night. It is, let's see, about 9:15 in the evening in my neck of the woods. So I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for listening to episode 29 of The Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney Perry. Thank you.